week following Dallas giving Bill Belichick his biggest loss in his NFL head coaching career. Mike McCarthy suffers the largest loss as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. 42-10, the final score as the Cowboys fall by 32 on the road at Levi's Stadium. Welcome into the First Word, presented by Dr. Pepper, here from the Star in Frisco as we break down what just happened in Santa Clara. As Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. Just to pull the curtain back a little bit for all the fans at home, this is probably the toughest postgame we've ever had to do. This is the fourth year that we've been on this stage, that we've been in this studio. I don't remember a more demoralizing loss than the one we just saw.
It's pretty bad, Kyle. You got punched in the mouth again. This is their third time in 3 years?
Third time.
This is the most disrespectful that it's been. And when I say disrespectful, I mean you got put down. You literally got put down. This was not, this was a good fight. They just out-schemed us. Like, no, this is your offensive coordinator got put to bed. Your defensive coordinator got put to bed. The players got laid down, and you never recovered. There was nothing that you did that was threatening to the San Francisco 49ers, and it showed.
The numbers speak for itself. 8 first downs, 4 for 11 on third down. Total net yards, 197. Average gain, 4 yards. 22 minutes you held the ball. Your defense was out there for 35. Four turnovers. One by Tony Pollard, who fumbled. 3 interceptions by Dak. It was brutal tonight, people.
Yeah, and it was really from the jump. I mean, San Francisco goes down early. Opening drive of the ball game, they put up nearly double-digit plays. They find the end zone with George Kittle. They did that again 2 more times throughout the night. Then the defense really got after Dak Prescott. There were times where Dak Prescott, even with a fully healthy offensive line, did not have time to throw the football. The West Coast concept came into play, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Let's start with the offensive side. What happened to the inefficiencies and what happened to the efficiency on offense that we saw a week ago and then some of these wins? I mean, where did it go tonight?
Well, we talked about it before in the pregame show that your typical West Coast offense that you've been running through these first 4 games was not going to work versus the San Francisco 49ers. And for the main reason that these guys play majority of the time a press man coverage. So your short routes, your slants, your quick outs, all those little things that you're doing that were outbreaking and barely breaking in weren't going to work because these guys were going to stay in your hip pocket. Well, we saw that come into play later on in the game. Dak tried to throw a slant route, batted ball, interception for a tip. You see later on, cover 2, right? Press coverage on the outside. Linebackers dropping into your slant route. Well, Dak still decides to throw it into the slant, interception. So we saw that those things weren't going to work. What was working was your running game, but you went away from that early and often. So once you got behind versus this defense, you had 0 chance.
In that running game you talked about, it was out of the first 3 drives, I think they only ran the ball 2 or 3 times. It was late on into the second quarter that they finally connected there. It was just a poor performance by everyone. I mean, the head coach, who was the offensive play caller, the way they was calling plays, the way they was throwing balls right into the coverage, it just was not a good showing tonight. It was just a team loss. Like we said, it was complimentary football, where it was complimentary on the other end. It was just a nice look, Kyle.
No, and with that being said, let's flip the decision or to the focus to the defensive side of the football, because just as much as the offense had their inefficiencies, so did the defense. I mean, Brock Purdy looked like a superstar in this ball game, and it mostly was because of how much time he was given to throw, but also because of the weapons and the separation that San Francisco had at the second level.
They did a great job with their scheme. And when I say their scheme offensively, for the 49ers, they didn't go away. Most teams go away from the most dominant opponent, right? Just in the case of the Cowboys, Micah Parsons, he's the game record for Dallas. What did the 49ers do? They went straight at them, right? We're not going to go away. We're not going to try to disguise. We're going to go hit them in the mouth every single play. We're going to hit them with our tight ends. We're going to hit them with our fullbacks. We're going to hit them with our running backs. No matter what, we're going to ensure that he gets hit every play. And by doing that, we negate your energy bust. The man who infuses your entire defense, we shut him down. We frustrate him, and we take him out the game. And then guess what? We're going to run the ball down your face every single time. And when you start playing the run, we're going to throw the ball back behind your zone coverage. They played a lot of zone. They played a lot of off coverage. They hardly ever came up and pressed and played man coverage, which caused these guys to be able to run routes on air. There was nobody impeding their tight ends routes, nobody impeding the receivers routes. So Brock Purdy, not only did he have time, but he had guys that were wide open because there was nobody stopping them from running their routes.
The thing about it is we wanted to stop McCaffrey. We slowed him down, but Brandon Ayuk showed up. Kittle's, my God, he hit a triple on us, man. In hockey, they got a special name for that. But anyway, a hat trick. So it's just they couldn't stop. Use check, the fullback. It's just once we slowed down one part, Coach Shanahan will come with another part. In their defense, Steve Wilkes did a nice job of mixing up his stuff on the defense end. But what they did to us defensively, you would have never thought this would happen to Dan Quinn's defense.
The good news is that it's a long season. There's a long way to go. You can't lose the Super Bowl in Week 5. That's the good news. That's about it. The bad news is the fact that you were bested in all 3 phases, thoroughly outcoached, and outplayed from the jump. And that's the case. I mean, this is one of those losses that in order for a team to really take a step forward, you have to take a look in the mirror and say, that's it. Yeah. How do you move on from there?
This was a measuring stick.
It was.
And you need that. Yeah. Right? You need that. You know, for all the kids that are out there in youth sports that are riding high and you beating up on all the little kids and playing intramural, sometimes you got to go play AAU. Sometimes you got to go play select ball. And when you go do that and you step up in that level of competition, guess what? Ooh, sometimes you catch one to the nose and you're like, oh, man, that's what it's like out here in real life against real competition for people who do this for a living. That's what the Dallas Cowboys ran into tonight. They knew what they were up against. They knew the 49ers was real, but guess what? They were feeling themselves. They felt good about what they've done to some of these lesser opponents. But when you step in there with a big dog, it's like going in there with Mike Tyson. You either better punch Mike Tyson in the face or you're going to get punched in the face. And guess what? They were the latter there.
You know what, fellas? It's time to mature. It's time to play ball. I remember when they was building our team back with Jimmy, we took beatings like this, but not once we were solidified. Right. This Dallas Cowboy team has a good offensive play caller, I think. Got a great defensive play caller. It's time for the players to step up. It's time for Dak to step up. It's time when the game's at its biggest for Parsons to step up. This is the game of champions. This is when the big dogs come to play. And that's who's got our wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, got to step up. It's just that, and I'm just trying to be honest. You know, this ain't our second year, our first year, our second. This is our third year. You know what the challenge was. You turned it into a test. This shouldn't have been a test. We should have went score for score. We should have made play for play. This is how good we should be. Now, I'm not buying into that. You are better than this. Show the rest of the world that you're better than this.
I think you and I, or all 3 of us up here, would have said going into this game that the team would not have fallen 42-10. That was not on the docket. You knew it was going to be a challenge, like you said. You knew there was going to be a physicality to it. There was going to be a really good football team on the opposite line of scrimmage and the opposite sideline. I don't think any of us anticipated this. Now it's time to move on, but you got to learn from it at the same time. So with that being said, here are the final stats in the loss, 42-10 as the Cowboys fall on the road here in Week 5. They're now 3-2 on the 2023 season. We leave you with these final stats. We have Cowboys game night coming up at 11 o'clock. We'll have highlights, interviews, and a whole lot more post-game reaction following the 32-point loss to San Francisco on the road. That does it for the First Word, presented by Dr. Pepper. We'll see you for Cowboys game night.